Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 2673 Carriage Way here in West Linn. Located, so I'm going to describe everything as if you're standing out in the street facing the front door. We are at the front of the house, just a few feet in from the front right corner. If you lose track of this thing, it's a tricky one to hunt down if you don't look for these things all the time. Even for someone like me, it was tricky. Straight back inside the house there in the closet, there is a 2-inch drain sticking out of the floor. It lines up perfectly with this thing. If that helps you to give you any landmarks. Right inside the wall here too, inside the house, you've got a little bulkhead that's got a 3-inch ABS pipe running through it. And there's also a shutoff, water shutoff in there. It's not right in front of that, but it kind of gives you a couple things to zero in on to help hunt it down. Anyhow, 3-inch ABS cleanout's our point of access. We're checking the overall condition, serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Waters are running, and we're going to zero the foot counter out at the base of the cleanout. Now, these split level designs, I've been doing this 13 years. I've cameraed, somewhere between 23 and 25,000 sewer lines. Split levels are by far, anyway, the hardest lines to hunt down and cleanouts. You have no crawl space, and most everything that is usually exposed in a normal basement is usually completely finished off in a split level. And so you just don't get hardly any clues as to where the line's going. And most of them pop out near the garage. So this is kind of it's a more unusual location. I'm stoked we found this thing. And thus far, good looking sewer line. Oh, I had to speak a little bit too soon there. So I'm going to revisit this spot here. It looks like you got roots that are coming down through the, it looks like they're getting through the test tee. Yeah, because there's a transition right there to concrete. You'll always have a test tee connection right before a transition like that. And it's essentially a clean out. It's a diagnostic tool used when the line is first installed. They put the test bladder in to pressurize the line, make sure everything's sealed. And then once that's passed off, they cap the thing off, and it's generally a friction or glued-on cap. It's really not one that's intended to be utilized ever again. But if they don't get that cap situated on there, you know, if it's like a friction cap they were supposed to glue in place and didn't situate it down tight, roots can grow right down through the opening. So that's one of those that may actually be a fairly easy repair to do. The pipe actually may not be busted at all. Sometimes they can just weasel right between the top of the standpipe and the cap. So as it sits right now, those roots are not doing anything to affect functionality. I am going to recommend a fix on it just from the standpoint of roots they can be unpredictable, and I never know when that stuff happened. For all I know, the roots came through a week ago. They might have been there for the last 40 years for all I know. It's the unknown as to what they're going to turn into, but most likely they have been there for a very, very long time. And because of the way they're growing in there, they're not getting into the most ideal location. Generally, roots are going to plow right through the actual sewer line itself, not through a clean out or standpipe, which does not immediately carry sewage or nutrients through it. So sometimes the roots will only get so big when they can't get down to nutrients. They don't always have a reason to keep growing. So anyway, we have good flow all the way out to this point here at 81 feet. I'm going to go turn the water off, let the line drain out. We're going to also go locate, verify where everything terminates at, and then we'll pull back in here and I'll try and get that spot located. I located the camera head successfully. Line terminates out on Carriage Way, and the line really hugs the right side property line as it makes its way out. Where I located there was lined up, I mean visually speaking to the eye, where I would imagine the property line would be anyway. It's about where the connection to the main is at. I believe we're in 6-inch concrete. I'll have to watch for any transitions. It might be 4-inch. It was hard to tell on the way out. I'll look for another diameter change in the ABS. Sometimes they don't happen until right before the line switches over to concrete. All that stringy stuff at the top of the pipe we've gone past are just cobwebs, in case you're wondering what those are. Lots and lots of cobwebs. Spiders love sewer lines. There's lots of flies inside of them. Certainly not the place I would prefer to call home, but they seem to like it. You know, the concrete pipe there is held up well, drains very nicely. There's no settling or anything. Looks very good. All right, we're gonna go locate this spot here. I am gonna recommend a fix on it. Again, just to reiterate, right now, as the line currently sits, and my camera is upside down, those roots are at the top of the pipe, not in the flow. Oh, well, there's a couple tiny strands in the flow line. They're affecting flow so little, you're not even getting debris gunked up on them. But it has the possibility or the chance to turn into something as time goes on. The hard part is we don't know when they came through and what they're ever going to turn into. But, you know, as it sits right now, there's only about a couple of those that are actually able to even get to water. So, anyway, it's something it would be good to repair, but as it sits right now, it's the line functions as if there are no roots in it. All right, so the line actually, it orients a little different than I thought originally. It ends up terminating very, very much in line with the right side property line, but the pipe runs at a pretty hard angle. It essentially runs dead straight out from this clean out to about where there's a dive down, where the yard dives down towards the sidewalk. Halfway down that, kind of where it's terraced, where the thing is terraced, is approximately where I'm picking the locate up. The hard part is I'm locating at such a weird angle on that hillside. If you don't locate lines, you won't really understand unless you use a Navitrax Scout and understand how that thing works. But on these angled hillsides like this, I'm getting a really weird locate. So I have put a green X down. If you were to walk straight out from the clean out to the sidewalk and turn around and look back at the house, up under the bushes there, you're going to see a green X. That's a rough marking. That is not a marking I would go digging up. That is purely for reference only. There's no depths down there for a reason. And the hard part with these angles like this, the signal can come out of the hillside in a different location than the line actually is at that point. So it's going to be near where it's at, but I don't know if it's actually directly on top of it. That's just as a reference marking. So that's one that would need to be relocated with a different type of locating system, the quad transducer that can pick up stuff easier on hard angled hillsides. Anyway, recommend a repair there. But once you get out to that point there, right just past that, the base of that drop is where the line turns and the pipe runs at about a 45-degree angle over to the main. So by the time you get to the main, it lines up with the right side property line, but the pipe runs right down straight away from the clean out for the first 30, 40 feet there. Alrighty. We're going to go ahead and flip around here for just a second. Going backwards right now. Snaking me all the way over. That's going to be the end of the line right there. That's the toilet at the base of the stairs. Right when you get down to the bottom of the basement stair steps, there's a bathroom kind of juxtaposed to that. That's what we were just looking at there was the toilet. We're going to go and reel the camera out of the line. Aside from the area there around 38 feet at the test tee where the roots are coming through, the rest of the line here is in good condition. All of it has good flow as it sits right now. Roots are not affecting functionality. I do recommend they be corrected, so the line remains that way. If repairs are not done, I would rescope the line probably in about a year or two. And the thing to keep in mind here, no one's seen this clean out in 40 years. I'm the first person to uncover it in the entire time this house has been here. What that tells you is that this line has not been drain cleaned to cut those roots back, and I can tell they haven't been the way that they're growing. They're completely intact, unmessed with. So the likelihood that they're going to change, I think, is pretty low, but it could happen. That's the hard part with roots. You just don't know what they're going to do. So after any repairs are done, I highly recommend rescoping, especially if you have to dig the line up. It's entirely possible in this case, if you expose that test tee and open it, the roots may be just growing straight to the top of the cap. This may be as simple as exposing the test tee, ripping the roots out with your hand, and gluing the cap back into place. It might be that simple. So anyway, if it does require actual excavation where you have to actually dig down to the sewer line, like if the roots are coming through the T connection or Y connection, where that standpipe actually connects onto the sewer line, that's a different story. That's something that will require actual digging and repair work. So we just can't see it with the angle the camera gets here. Anyhow, line is functioning properly at this time. I do recommend fix there to keep the line doing that and functioning properly, and rescoping to check the work, and or rescope periodically to keep an eye on the roots if they are not repaired.